The NFL Combine is underway. Earlier, we heard from General Manager Eric DaCosta. Now we hear from the coach, John Harbaugh, one of the more polarizing figures in the organization. It's God's favorite host. Right here on the Flex Zone Podcast, John Harbaugh speaking. What up, Alex? I see you, brother. Ravens flock, we in the building. Sack that subscribe button, tackle that thumbs up, blitz that bell. Want to hear from you down below. Let's get to it.
It can be life transformation. It can be transformation for basic things, transformation for nothing. Right? Things too. I did that. I want to help folks do what we can. All of the academy to us, and we want to help out where we can.
We're back at it again, guys. Make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell.
One piece of advice I got from my high school coach, we had a coach, his name was Pete Palmer. He was called Push Up Pete. And if you did, he was my baseball coach. And if you didn't run out a ground ball or a fly ball, you got to run around the football stadium, which is about a half a mile. You know, baseball players don't like running too much sometimes. So hustle, hustle. That's probably the best advice I got early on. Yeah, hustle serves you well in life. Thanks.
I'd ask him about Tucker.
Oh, absolutely. It's not what you want to wake up and read. You don't want to read about it. It's not something you want to see. I don't care what it is in terms of, things that are hurtful and harmful to people. There's too many headlines like that, too many stories that you hear that just make you just sad, disappointed. And you don't want to ever see a circumstance, a situation, especially as it relates to, your world where everybody's made to feel great. They come and are involved in a work experience somewhere, and as it touches all of us, I want to do everything we can to make sure that this is just the opposite, that everybody feels like they have a great we've been at our place every day. And you know what we try to do with that. So that's just really a tough deal. And the NFL is looking into it. They're going to come up, they're going to review it. They're going to try to gather all the facts, and hopefully I'm sure we'll have an understanding of it at that time. And then once there's an understanding of it, then you have a chance to, make some decisions and determinations and things like that. And that's where we're at right now. Yeah, and that's what we're waiting to try to do is reconcile it. That's what the process is for. That's why you've got to come to an understanding if you can about what happened. We've all got questions, but nobody knows exactly what happened. So let's see where the review takes us. Yeah. I learned after Eric told me, I think right before it came out, maybe the banner had called Eric and told him that there was something coming out. We didn't know anything about what it was going to be, so I knew what it was when I read it. And then, I don't know, a week and a half, 2 weeks after that, I gave Justin a call on a Sunday morning, and we had a conversation about it and talked about it. More about, just more from a perspective of being together for all these years, kind of what he was going through and, what he was dealing with that, and kind of how he's handling with his family and things like that. And that was really what we talked about. Can you say it again? Great question. When it rises to a national level, how do you approach it? Really, it's not so much about like what level national or what level of attention something gets. It's the fact that it's so important to somebody in our program. I mean, to me, it's like people walk in the door in this job, you've kind of, man, God appointment, sometimes we call it, but things come up all the time. You could be dug deep in the middle of some football related task, and someone walks in your door with something that's number one important to them, and they're talking to, the boss, so to speak, or the head coach or whatever, and they need your time and they need your attention. So to me, it's exactly the same as any one of those conversations that you'd have. Right. Yeah, well, sure. It's every position is important. We're going to look at every single position, but certainly different years you look at different positions. We're looking at kickers. I mean, we're looking at a lot of positions. We're looking at every position, but I'd say the kicker position would have been a priority no matter what, because our Justin's our kicker. We love him, and I expect him would have always expected him to keep going forever, but nobody goes forever. So we've got to look at every position like we do.
I hate you can't hear these questions. Or barely can hear them. But make sure you hit that like button, hit that bell.
All the big picture of the coaching changes.
What's up, D?
Yeah, that's the thing that we found in the last 3, 4, 5 years. We've had a lot of coaching changes and different reasons for different coaching changes. Guys have gotten opportunities. We've had a lot of success, and that's a good thing, but it's a challenging thing because, from the coaching side, there's nothing more important than your staff, and we have a great coaching staff. We've had great coaches come through. I'm going to be talking to Anthony Weaver and Mike McDonald later today. And those guys are two of the great coaches that kind of have helped us become what we are as a program. So I'm excited about Chuck Pagano. Chuck's been there before. He's coming back. He's a great coach. He's a great guy. He helped start it back in 2008 to 2011, so love Chuck. And I think he's going to bring a lot to the table. And then Donald.
Gotta love the ads in the middle of your live stream. But Harbaugh talking about Pagano, by the way. Did talk about Tucker, talking about Pagano. And back to Harbaugh, or Harbaugh, as y'all call him.
It starts there. It starts on the offensive and defensive line. So we're going to be looking at both lines really hard. You look at every position. It gets a deep running back class from what I've been told too. So we'll be looking at that position too. But yeah, game-wrecking defensive tackles, kind of a big deal. Pass pressuring defensive ends, that's kind of a big deal too. Yeah, well, our analysts are in that list. So just so you know, we have about the same number of guys on the field, coaches, women coaches too on the field. We have the most women coaches in the league, which I'm really proud of that. We got a very diverse coaching staff. I'm really proud of that, and we have a great coach, importantly, and that's the thing I'm most proud of. Well, everybody's got them. But they're just not listed on the coaching staff. We just give them coaching staff credit. I think the Browns have 24 people in their analytics department, so that would make them the biggest coaching staff in the league.
Not doing well for the Browns with all those analytical folk. I'll tell you that.
You guys have the women's coach. Oh, the women's coach. Yeah. Yeah. Our women coaches are doing a great job. They're coaching football. They're contributing to our team. They're learning. They're younger coaches in the weight room, on the football side, through the administrative, through the analytic part of it. We have some great young people coaching for us. I'm excited about that. What's that? Yeah, that's probably a better Eric question. I personally watched the tackles and guards right now so far on offense. That's what I've gotten through, and I like a lot of those guys. So that's what I can speak to. Jim learned about himself. I don't know, man. He seems like the same Jim to me. I think people maybe in with the Chargers learned how good he is, and how much fun he is to be around every day. You're around him a lot, and he's. I was just talking to Joe Ortiz on the way coming down the hallway here, and he said we work really hard and we have a lot of fun doing it. And I think that's something that Jim's always been about. He's fun to be around. He's all ball. If you like football, you like being a Charger, and I feel the same way about the Ravens. Kind of run similar type programs, and it's kind of what it should be about. Yeah. Right. Talking to your colleagues about the league and trying to change opinions. I don't know. In that process, yeah. That's a great question. I have been very involved in that, and you can ask anybody that, and they'll probably tell you that they are. Yeah. He's been a little bit of a pain about that, but the thing I appreciate about the league is there's great dialogue with that, and they do. Like Roger wants to hear everybody's opinion, and Troy wants to hear everybody's opinion, and those guys are kind of at the top of the food chain there, and it kind of works from there through the competition committee. So they're great. No, I haven't always gotten what I've suggested. Yeah, I think most of the time that they should be doing what I think is right, but coaches talk a lot too. And as far as replay, I'm just as much replay as we can that makes sense. Some things don't make sense in replay, but to me, the idea, the end of the deal should get it right as much as we can. And with technology, that allows you more and more to get it right through different avenues of replay. Yeah. We do. Steve is the boss. Steve ultimately makes the call, but he listens to all of us, and then it's not too often we're like he doesn't. We all come to an agreement. I think one of our philosophies is that we agree to agree. And you got to come to the. It might be it's either or a third option or a fourth option or some way of looking at it that melds all the ideas together. But we always try to agree to agree. Yeah. Thanks. I do. You take a lot of pride in that, You take a lot of pride in the fact that your coaches are going off and they're doing well. And you kind of see the personality of the teams that they coach or the units they coach. And you feel like, man, that looks familiar to me, and that's something that you do. You take a lot of pride in that. And especially as you get older, you start feeling better and better about that. So I love our guys. And, I don't love playing against them all the time. That's not so much fun, but you love what they're building. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. That'd be one of the options we could go to. It would depend on the draft and different things like that and free agency. I think we'll probably keep Ronnie. Hopeful that we will. But if we don't, we'll have an option, and that would be one of them for sure. Oh, yeah. Voorhees got a great shot at that. He looked really good at the end of the year when he played, and there's other guys in there, too, in that mix. Yeah, it was early in his career, and it just someone came in there and played really well. I mean, Pat went in there and played great, and that was the better option. But Andrew was working all the way through and developing. Then all of a sudden, boom, he's back on the field. You guys don't see the practices, but then he's back on the field and he played really well. And that was because of all the work between then and when he got his opportunity. The tush push. Okay. Yeah. Well, to me, it's okay. You got to take all those rules holistically. Okay, what effect does one rule change have on the next thing? So if you take out the tush push, then you're going to take out all pushing. Okay, so guy can't be downfield and the offensive lineman come running in and push the ball carrier 5 more yards. You can't take one out, not the other. They're the same. Just like you're not supposed to be able to grab a running back and pull them into the end zone. That hasn't been officiated. They've allowed that to happen. That's already against the rules. How are you going to officiate that? So if we want to say that you can't help push it back, then you can take out the tush push. If you're going to say that that's still allowed, in my opinion, you can't take out the tush push. So I'm good with you. I'm okay with the tush push. Yeah. Yeah, we believe in both. I think you want to be able to get there with 3. Maybe make them hold a little longer. You want to be able to get there with simulateds where you bring 4, but it's not the guy they expect to come and make them hold the ball with coverage disguise. You want to be able to get there with 4 rushers. Like some teams that have those guys, they do a great job of them. We have those guys too. We've done that a lot. You want to be able to get home with zone blitzes, with man blitzes, with all-out blitzes. We like to keep it moving. We like to keep people guessing. That's kind of our format. And 4-man rush, absolutely, big part of that.
2 more. Sound like the whole man, Raj, indeed. I think that's Jerry Coleman.
That's something we got to find out. That's what the review's for, to gain an understanding of what we're even talking about. You can't take an action without understanding, right? You got to get the facts and understand what happened as best you can, and then you take the situation for what it is. But the principle's the same. How do you define that principle? term a little bit. Maybe we'll come out and make a definition of that at some point in time. That's something that that would be interesting to me. But I think everybody understands the idea there, and let's see where the review takes us.
Last one.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Okay, great. Thanks. All right.
And that's it. And there's Harbaugh, or Harbaugh, as Raj and D likes to call him. So we heard from Harbaugh. I think we got a little bit more from Harbaugh, a little more wide-ranging. Obviously, Eric's more of a personnel type of guy, but them asking Harbaugh about coaches he's helped develop, players, the Justin Tucker thing, obviously. Nothing about Lamar, so I don't really think that matters, but nothing about Andrews I heard either. So I'm going to go get the transcript from my good friend Jeff Rebeck in a second, but Harbaugh speaking to the media at the NFL Combine, as mentioned. If you don't know, the Combine pretty much starts with the media stuff today. Thursday is when the on-field workouts actually get to begin. Pretty much we can go here. Harbaugh pretty much said the Ravens are looking at kickers in this draft. Let's go to Jeff Rebeck real quick. And I think that was something we knew, but Harbaugh even expounded a little more. Like I said, he said he knew that kicker was something they were going to have to address. And obviously we all know that. Hey, Morgan, how you doing? And clearly Randy Brown, one of the best in the business, they're going to find a kicker. I think they'll draft a guy and they will sign a guy off the street. One of these guys will kick this year. I see that happening. That is my prediction with that. He did echo also the confidence in keeping Ronnie Stanley. He talked about he's confident in Rosengard moving to left tackle. He's confident in Andrew Voorhees being able to step in at left guard. He's confident in some of the other guys that maybe we aren't talking about. I already said they're going to draft at least 2 linemen. And I think they do need to draft some linemen. They need an inside guy and an outside guy. And you see there, Harbaugh, they have a lot of – I'm hearing confident that they can keep Ronnie Stanley. Now, at $20 million a year, like I said, there are going to be a lot of teams. You look at the playoff teams. You look at the teams in your division. There are going to be a lot of teams that need tackles. I said the Chiefs. I said the Texans. I said the Commanders. I'm just throwing teams out there. The Bengals. There are a lot of ways they could go with this offensive line. There are a lot of ways they can go with free agency. But if Rosengarten does move to left, who plays right tackle? That will be obviously the biggest question. Probably the biggest question on offense. We got a quarterback, check. Got a running back, check. Got another running back, check. Got another running back, check. So you got 3 running backs. I think you ran back use check. Got a fullback. Got Zay Flowers. You got no more receiver, check. You got Bate, check. You got 3 tight ends. Andrews likely. However you feel about Andrews. I think that he will be a Raven this year, check. Like I said, likely's ascending, getting better each year, check. You got Rosengarten, you got Lele, you got Linderbaum, you got Voorhees. So obviously Voorhees didn't really ascend to where we thought he would be this year, but you have a guy who I think going into year 3, it's really make or break. So really, the offensive line, the right side of it, especially if Rosengarten moves to left, is going to be paramount. Obviously, defensively, he talked about getting a pass rusher, getting a guy, a disruptor, as I like to say, that can get to the quarterback one-on-one win rate. They only have to rush 4. They don't have to blitz as much. Maybe rush 3. Like you said, maybe show that you're rushing 4, but it's not the 4 that they think. So disguising the way that they rush, getting more creative. And I think that's where even Zach Orr can improve. I mean, let's not forget this is year 1 for him calling plays. Year 1 as a defensive coordinator. He started to come into his own the last month of the season for sure. Getting Dean Pease, I think, has helped empower him. Now having Chuck Pagano, who Harbaugh also did speak about, is very, very paramount to the success of this defense. Working with Kyle Hamilton, Darius Washington, I think will be back. Marlon Wiggins going into year 2. Obviously, they need to address the cornerback position. I do think TJ Tampa can help them out as well. But I am looking forward to see what this team does. Harbaugh has to get credit. And I know people don't like him. People want him to go. But his coaching tree, it's not bad, man. It's not a bad coaching tree. Obviously, Mike McDonald talked about Anthony Weaver. He talked about his brother, Jim Harbaugh, who he's owned. He talked about Joe Ortiz. I mean, these are guys who are play like a Raven. They are Raven guys through and through. And obviously, we see it there. Alex, I don't have an answer because I don't really know who will be there. Because if they stay at 27, I'll say pass rusher. If they move up, I told you I know the safety aspect or the corner aspect. I think Golden out of Texas, the gentleman out of Georgia. Uh, so it's going to be a couple of guys. I don't know who I want. I do like the pass rush out of Marshall. So there are a couple guys I like, but I got to look more at this field. But very deep on defense, very deep in the front seven with the defensive linemen, the defensive tackles. Now, could the Ravens go get a defensive tackle maybe later in the draft? Matabike's paid, but Travis Jones, he's got what, one more year? So are they going to pay him, extend him, or do they go get a younger guy? Obviously, going to lose Brent Urban. Van Noy's going into his last year, basically. Owe going into his last year. Will Ajabo even make it through training camp? He might be cut. So you're going to need front seven pieces, offensive linemen, defensive linemen. They like to have outside linebackers, obviously. They're going to need that. They're going to need an off-ball linebacker. So the defense is going to need some tinkering. And as good as they play, I think having that guy that can get after the quarterback is going to be very, very paramount, that they don't have to blitz as much. They can rush forward like you saw with the Eagles and teams in the past against Patrick Mahomes, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Giants of yesteryear. So there are a lot of ways that they can go with that. And looking at it, I do think, like I said, I put a poll up question: what did Harbaugh do this year? What would you grade him? I personally, and I'm gonna go to Jameson Hensley real quick. I personally give him a solid B plus. I can't give you an A if you don't win a championship. I can't give you that, but I can give a solid B plus. And Coach John Harbaugh on allegations of sexual misconduct against Justin Tucker. He did say he called him. He was tipped off from Eric once the Banner did call Eric and allow him to know that they were doing a story. So the Banner, shout out to them over there for doing things the right way. It's a tough deal, and I quote, it's a tough deal. The NFL is reviewing it. Hopefully we'll have an understanding at that time. Let's see where the review takes us as well. And Eric DaCosta, just in case you missed it, he did say it is serious and concerning, but indicated that the team will make a decision based on the NFL's investigation. And I think that's fair, because if it's like a Zay Flowers situation, or they settle outside of court like we saw with Deshaun Watson, could he still be suspended if the league deems it necessary? And we know the league's disciplinary actions are very hot and cold, so he may still not get charged with anything, but still may have to serve 6 games. But I think it's going to lead to a divorce one way or the other. And you can kind of see it and feel it with what they're saying or not saying, but body language, just the feeling that they get when people ask them about them, the hurt and pain and just disappointment, like a parent who is disappointed in a student or their child doing something they did not expect. They've been doing great all these years and they find out some stuff from years ago. It sucks that it is older and it's just coming out, but we'll see how it plays out. But you can see right there that Harbaugh, Stanley, Harbaugh, DeCosta, I think they're going to keep Stanley. They going to go after. I think the biggest takeaways we can take away from today, and I'll wrap it up with that, because we got some big news on Myles Garrett and them. I mean, apparently the Eagles trying to possibly go get Myles Garrett. Anyway, I think it's going to be very, very important that the kicker situation, what happens at offensive line with Ronnie Stanley, and what do they do defensively to address the pass rush and front seven. I think those are the 3 keys I'm looking at, because when you have a good pass rush, it only helps out your secondary. So even if you have a great pass rush and your corners are below average, it can help you out. But I think if you get that pass rusher, you have Marlon, you have Wiggins, you have Tampa. They're going to draft, I think, at least a DB, at least one DB, corner, safety. They're going to draft at least 2 old linemen. They're going to draft probably another receiver. So they got 11 picks, and they have a lot of future needs, because, like I said, we know the guys that are on the horizon to get paid: Linderbaum, Hamilton, Zay Flowers, just paid Bateman. There are a lot of guys, Travis Jones, who are going to get paid. But being able to draft and develop guys, when you have guys that are impending free agents, and being able to see 2 years, 3 years down the line, play chess, not checkers, is very, very important. Now, like I said, 11 picks. Are 11 people going to make this team? No. This is one of the best Ravens rosters ever. Over this past 3 to 4 year window, Lamar is healthy. They have a chance. And like I said, when you have that quarterback, when you have that coach, you definitely still have a chance to get it done. And when you look at it, it's going to be very, very important to see what happens next. Obviously, there's combine, then free agency. Do they designate Justin Tucker as a post-June 1 cut to kind of help with some of the noise? I don't know. But we'll see indeed what happens with the Ravens. Like I said, we got some big things going on in free agency. Obviously, a lot of deals are done at this time of year at the combine. All the agents are there. They're talking about deals and possible trades. So you'll hear more and more trade rumors and news coming out. Like I said, they got some Myles Garrett news. Apparently, the Eagles trying to stop the Commanders from getting Myles Garrett. So the petty Philly. That's what I'm gonna call them. Petty Philly. And if they get damn Myles Garrett again, it's over with. They're going back to back. But they did speak with some sense, Raj. I think they always speak with some sense. I think they had time to prepare. They weren't trying to do too much. They stuck to the script. They were, I think, upfront about what they could be upfront about. And they were able to, I think, articulate their deflections the right way. They weren't able to just deflect, oh, no, we're not doing it. They talked about what they could. They mentioned they talked to Tucker. They didn't deflect. They tackled it head on. They said, hey, it's wild. It's weird. It is something we did not expect from Tucker. We were kind of, and you can see they really rock with his brother because Harbaugh said, I called him on an early Sunday morning. He didn't go to church. He didn't go to brunch. He called Tucker. So what that tells me is, yeah, you my guy. I'm going to call you up. What the hell are you doing? What are you doing in these massage parlors from 2012 to 2016? What the hell is your problem? You have now not only disparaged the Ravens and this franchise and everything connected to it, you have disparaged your family, your loved ones, your wife, your children who have to go to school and hear about these types of things in the media. So regardless of whether someone's guilty or innocent, no one cares about the truth when a lie is more entertaining. You guys know the saying, okay? It's not innocent until proven guilty. It's guilty until proven innocent. And even with allegations of SA, it never goes well. That stigma, that black cloud that you don't want over your franchise. And you look at the Browns. You talked about the Browns. You talked about the coaching staff, how they have a lot of women's coaches. The Browns have all these analytical guys. They still got dumbass owners. And I think Steve Bisciotti is one of the more competent owners in sports. You don't hear from him a lot. You don't see him a lot. I'm intrigued no one asked him about Lamar or a possible contract extension. I don't know if they are going down to Florida yet or they've already been down to Florida. But they go down there. They have their retreat with Mr. Bisciotti. Is this something that's going to come out this offseason? That's something to put in the back of our mind. But I do think Harbaugh will be beyond this season. I know this is the last year of his deal. I don't think the Ravens are going to let him go into the season as a lame duck coach. They're going to give this man an extension, whether it's a 1-year extension, whatever, and they may work out something else after that. And Optimus Prime, it's not about the stats. It's not about the numbers. And I wish someone would clip this, send it to whomever you want to send it to. I know we aren't the biggest channel. If you do nothing else, remember these things. Why has no one ever asked Harbaugh, DeCosta, whomever else in the front office, coaches, why does this team in the critical moments in the postseason, each and every time, it is a self-inflicted wound, a self-inflicted mistake that dooms this team? It's not the other players are better. It's not we got necessarily out-coached. It's not, oh, they got a better quarterback. Oh, it's not, oh, they were beating us and blowing us out by 20 or 30. The Ravens wouldn't have got beat like that by the Eagles in the Super Bowl. Would they have won? What would have happened? I don't know. But you look at the tape of the Ravens against the Eagles in the regular season, the Ravens put up a good fight. Tucker missed some kicks. I think they had some mismanagement during that game. The Ravens were in that game. They were not going to get beat by 20-plus points in this biggest game of them all, especially Lamar. All the effort and energy he's putting to proving his doubters wrong. You can feel it and see it after the Buffalo game. They weren't going to get beat like that. So this team, and you can let me know, Google it, look it up. I don't know, whatever you want to do. I cannot remember a time, and you can, like I said, Google it. Let me know how you feel.
Go Google it.
I don't remember.
Google it. Go Google it.
I don't remember a time when this team has gotten beat significantly by more than double digits with Lamar Jackson at quarterback. They don't get blown out. They're in most, if not every game. And when they lose, it's usually a close game. It's usually a stinker. It's usually they play down to their competition. It's usually they're being front runners. It's usually self-inflicted wounds, self-inflicted penalties, self-inflicted mistakes. And I think if they can cut back on the penalties, they can, in the brightest, biggest moments, brightest lights, maybe not go to Mark Andrews. Maybe go to Likely, who has shown in the playoffs he can come up with big plays. So just little things, I think. And that's where Harbaugh has to come in and look himself in the mirror and say, hey, look, regardless of whose fault it is, regardless of how it happens, when things don't go well, it falls back on me as the head coach. Rightfully acceptable or not, even with Lamar. They need to obviously add pieces to this team, but they got to stop beating themselves. They can cut back on the penalties and just stop doing stupid things at the end. I think they'll be all right there. And what the Titans? Well, I don't really. I mean, they got blown out, Raj. Okay, they did, but it was turnover, so I'll give you that. But they don't get blown out often, and that's one thing I want to pointed to. And it's going to come down to this team not beating themselves. We have this conversation every year. Can they not beat themselves? Can they not have the self-inflicted penalties and wounds? And let's think about how much more or better the numbers would have been without some of those penalties. You lead the league in penalties. You have over 1,000 penalty yards. That is never going to go well for your team. You're always taking one step forward and two steps back. Obviously, Lamar is the equalizer. Obviously, some of the pieces, Derrick Henry and the pieces they have, Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews, likely, they got some equalizers. They got some guys that can abstain and absolve your transgressions, as I like to say. But when you commit these penalties, you look at the Oakland and Cleveland games. You catch those passes. That's not Harbaugh's fault. You win that game. You look at the Vegas game. If Henry doesn't have that false start, he just stays set. Fundamental football, they keep the ball and they keep driving. Mark Andrews trying to be Zay Flowers fumbles the ball. That was probably bigger than the drop because he catches that ball, he goes down, they go score a touchdown. No doubt about it. They couldn't stop what the Ravens were doing. Like I said, you go to Kansas City, anything could happen. But it is what it is. The Ravens are in the same spot they're in this year, picking the draft, another playoff run in short. And honestly, this year you didn't even get back to the conference championship game. So it is a little bit of a letdown. Like I said, they passed the semester, but they failed the final test. And the final test of the postseason continues to be the damning kryptonite of the Baltimore Ravens in this franchise in the Lamar Jackson Harbaugh era, because they are tied at the hip, whether they want to admit to it or not. Obviously, we can get rid of Harbaugh. You're not going to get rid of Lamar, but these two are tied at the hip. I don't think Harbaugh's going anywhere. Would I be surprised if I hear a John Harbaugh extension this offseason? No. A 1 year, 2 year deal. Would I be surprised if I hear Derrick Henry get a nice 1 and 2 year extension? No. Eric DeCosta, I think, as anybody else, and I want to give him his flowers. He needs to get his flowers. He works the cap very, very well. His cap guys, they penny pinch, they bargain basement shop, they get the coupon book better than anybody. I do agree with that. But this team is going to have to make some sort of splash move on the defensive side. I think that can really, really help them out. I know everybody wants potentially a receiver. Yeah, they could use another receiver. But like I said, offense is not really a lot of questions. Defensively, they got to help out Lamar. Only 2 turnovers they forced in these playoff games. And we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens there. Hey, Raj doesn't think they're mentally tough. And they really don't have an outspoken leader like that. I mean, I guess Roquan, Kyle Hamilton, Humphrey, but they don't really have that Ray Lewis, Terrell Suggs, Ed Reed guy. They don't. Obviously, those guys don't grow on trees. Those guys aren't walking through the door. But they may not be, to you, mentally tough. I think they're just undisciplined in certain areas, and I can't put all of that on Harbaugh because it seems like they'll do good for 59 minutes and 59 seconds. And then that 1 second, which cost them the game, they'll do something goofy. And like I said, it's across the league. I can't even say it's just the Ravens thing. Alex, I see you in the chat talking about your 49ers. You look at Andy Reid, what the hell was he doing in the Super Bowl? You got outcoached by Nick Sirianni. I think he's a better coach than people give him credit for. But you have to realize it's only one Super Bowl champion at the end of the season. It's 31 other losers. They're all on the couch together. We're all on the couch together watching the Super Bowl, watching a wonderful halftime performance from Kendrick Lamar, eating our snacks, doing our streams, having our adult beverages, whatever we like to do. I do think that is possible potentially for this team still. I think going into the season, health permitting, this could be the best team they've had with as a little amount of questions. You don't have 10 free agents this year. You don't have 5 or 6 coaches leaving. You've brought in some good veteran coaches. You've built your staff up. You've went to the college ranks. You've done things a little different. You've brought in an experienced Chuck Pagano. You have Dean Pease in the shadows if needed. So they are turning over every stone. No stone unturned. We know the Ravens like to zig while everyone else likes to zag. I like the fact of them getting the female coaches, getting into the analytics. We know the go for 2 stuff. Khalil Mack, yeah, he's a free agent. Joey Bosa's free. It's going to be a lot of guys. And that's why free agency is going to be so interesting because guys are going to sign as soon as the word go. So you're going to see guys sign on that first date, March 12th, March whatever, March 14th, whenever it's coming up. They're going to sign. They're going to go. They're going to blow their load. They're going to get big money. You're going to see the news coming in. We're going to be live. I'm going to be talking about it, doing videos all day, all night. But at the end of the day, that is going to influence how teams draft. So it may allow guys that are good pass rushers in a very deep pass rusher draft that can fall to the Ravens. So maybe they don't have to trade up, like I said, to 15 or 16. They may only need to go up to like maybe 25 or 24. Me personally, if I had the pen, I'm getting in front of the Steelers. I'm being petty as hell like the Eagles. I'm jumping in front of the Steelers. I'm being petty like the Chiefs. I'm jumping in front of the Bills, or if they allow me to, the Bills are goofy for doing that. And it turns out they still lost. And I knew that would come back to bite them. I'm jumping in front of whomever I got to go get a guy, because that means guys are going to fall, playmakers are going to drop. It's always a guy that gets drafted way too high and a guy that falls way too far in each draft. Probably multiple guys. And in a depth draft like this with defensive linemen, front seven guys, offensive linemen, some corners, running backs, there are a lot of ways that the Ravens can go in that first 2 rounds, and I can't wait to see what they do. We got the workout starting on Thursday. You'll have some names of people I'm looking forward to seeing. I have a video on that. We were live earlier for Mr. DaCosta's press conference as well. And it's good to hear from the Ravens because feels like what, end of the season press conference? Was that like over a month ago now? Crazy. But if you haven't seen already, we have the numbers, man. We know on real quick on Thursday, and I can share this with you all as well. So Thursday, so as you see the schedule here, I know it might be a little small. Let me try to. But basically, Thursday, we have on-field workouts of the place kickers. So there you go. Defensive linemen and linebackers. There you go. Friday, on-field workouts for the defensive backs and tight ends. A very deep tight end draft also. Could they sneak in and maybe take another tight end if Andrews is his last year? Likely he's about to get paid. Kolar needs to get paid. They could sneak in and take a nice little sneaky tight end in the 3rd or 4th round. That is a nice little weapon that you may not think is really a value pick, but maybe in the future. Think about it. Play chess, not checkers. Then on Saturday, we got the running backs, quarterbacks, and wide receivers working out, and Sunday, the offensive linemen as well. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful weekend of NFL action coming your way. And we got a lot of stuff coming up as I have the screen up for you. So yeah, we got all that coming up. We're almost at free agency. Got videos on the channel. Free agency rumors, trades, discussion, and much more. We'll have more coming today and later on today. Yeah, I see the Orioles are playing. I'm going to try to check that out if it's on TV. Not sure. It's a lot of spring. It's too many damn spring training games, first of all. That's a whole other story for another day, but I'm going to get out of here. Alex, Raj, D, Optimus Prime, everybody in the chat, thank you guys for joining me on this lunchtime edition of the Flex Zone Podcast, live stream from the NFL Combine. We heard from DaCosta earlier. We had some breakfast together. We heard from Harbaugh. Now we're having lunch together, a little NFL lunch, if I may. And now we are going to get back to work. More coming. If you're in the NXT, we're going to be live for that tonight. Hardy Boys are back. Ricky Saints in-ring debut. And I may have to touch on this. Eagles, these petty Philly people trying to take away from the Commanders. Go get Myles Garrett. Like if they need him. Like they didn't just win the Super Bowl. But that's how Howie does it. That's what Eric and John, they gave credit to the brother. He's a riverboat gambler. He's a risk taker. He's going to go out and make that splash move. So we'll see what the Ravens do. They want Ronnie back. They got to get a kicker. They're waiting to see what happens with the investigation. And they're excited to see some of the guys in the draft. And I'm excited to see them as well. But make sure if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that bell. Want to hear from you. Comment down below if you're watching this video after the fact. Let us know your thoughts on what Eric DaCosta said, what John Harbaugh said. You want Harbaugh to go? What do you think his future is? What do you grade him for this past season? I give him a B+. But that's just me. We'll see what happens. And yeah, I'm getting ready to get out of here. We'll see you tonight for NXT. We got interviews from this channel on a podcast. We got clips and much more coming up. So make sure you guys let us know what you want to see. Anything, take requests. We'll be live this weekend in Elimination Chamber. Big weekend, big week of content in March. man, March is going to be crazy. March Madness, Orioles season begins. Got NBA, still got the regular live streams. We're heading into WrestleMania, AEW Revolution. So a lot to get into. And of course, the birthday of yours truly, God's favorite host. Only place giving you sports how you want it when you need it. I'm getting out of here. Go grab some lunch for myself. Get back to work. More content coming on the channel. Hit that bell. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Want to hear from you in the comment section. What do you think about what Harbaugh said? And what do you look forward to seeing with this team? And what is on your NFL draft or NFL free agency wish list? We want to hear from you, everybody, down in the chat. And if you just found us for the first time, Ravens Flock, make sure you subscribe. Hit the like button. Hit the bell. The best kept secret in the YouTube community. But we won't be a secret much longer. So get in now before everybody else finds out. I promise you, you'll love what you see here. God's favorite host, I'm signing off. Thank you for watching. So much on the channel. Indulge, enjoy. Have a great day. If you're working, don't work too hard. I'll see you tonight for NXT and on the content wise with more videos coming soon. I'll see you when I see you. Peace, Flex on family.